welcome to my kitchen. My name is Erica Lucas, and in this video I'm going to be sharing batch cooking. I'm going to make 2 recipes. I'm the host for this collaboration, so check the description box below for a playlist, and you're going to see other channels that are posting recipes that you can batch cook. You cook or prepare once for the future. I messed up again. Oh. I'm going to make 2 batches of chicken lasagna roll-ups and 4 batches of meatballs. Let's start cooking. Okay, first up we have chicken lasagna roll-ups. For the ingredients, you're going to need 2 eggs, some Parmesan cheese, mozzarella cheese, lasagna noodles, a jar of sauce, oregano, onion powder, and cooked chicken. Cook the chicken first in the crock pot. You could do this a day in advance. I cook it on high for 4 hours or on low for 7 hours. I am slow cooking extra chicken for other recipes than you see here, but for the lasagna roll-ups, you can figure about 1 chicken breast for 4 roll-ups. Okay, so I've added salt, pepper, onion powder to 6 chicken breasts, and I'm gonna cook them on high for 4 hours or again on low for 7. And after the chicken's ready, I shred it and I set it aside. When I'm ready to do the lasagna roll-ups, I boil the noodles until al dente. You want them to be on the harder side than the softer side because they're going to cook in the oven for another 30 minutes. And while the noodles are boiling, I beat 2 eggs and add 1 cup of mozzarella, 1/3 cup Parmesan, and 1 cup of chicken, and toss that around, add some oregano. These are going to be the guts for the roll-ups. When the noodles are finished cooking, I move them to this long plate that I have. I lay the I lay the noodle flat. You could do this on your counter or on any plate. And I spread the mixture on the roll-up. I start at one side, slowly roll the mixture on the roll-up. The mixture should be of a consistency where it stays on. If you've added too much, it'll fall out the sides. That's fine, just shove it back in or we'll put it on top. I put it seam side down in a pan or storage container if I'm freezing it, and I coat the bottom of that container with sauce first, then place the roll-up seam side down, and then I repeat this process for however many I am making. I make small batches of the mixture as I go. And I'm making this for dinner, so I'm gonna freeze what I don't need for dinner. And I've only used 2 chicken breasts for the recipe I'm making in this video. The other 4 chicken breasts are for a different recipe that I needed shredded chicken for. The 7th and 8th roll-ups are just going to be frozen for later. So you can prep it for freezing or you can bake it at this point. So to bake it at 350 degrees uncovered for 25 minutes. While that's doing that, I'm just prepping the rest for the freezer instead of cooking it now. You can label it as good for about 3 months. And then when you're ready to eat it, take it straight from the freezer to the oven, 350 degrees for 30 minutes, covered, when you're ready to cook it. It's ready. Dinner is served. This is what they look like when they are all done cooking. And they look like this whether they were frozen or fresh. And I adore this recipe. This has been a household favorite for a decade between me and my husband. And it started as a Ree Drummond recipe. And she uses ricotta. A lot of people use ricotta in their lasagnas. I don't. My kids don't like that. They don't like the texture. They don't like the taste. So I just boycott the ricotta and use extra mozzarella. So you make it any way you like. Ricotta can be frozen. And I will share a link in the description box below for this recipe. Okay, batch cooking recipe number 2 is meatballs. This is also a Ree Drummond recipe. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of Pioneer Woman in this cookbook here, and I'll leave a link below for that. But here are the variations that I put on her recipe. I mix 4 eggs. I just lightly whisk them together or lightly beat them with a fork. 1 1/3 cup Italian breadcrumbs. If you don't use Italian breadcrumbs, then just add oregano and basil. 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1/2 teaspoon pepper, 1/4 cup of heavy cream, and 1/2 cup of milk. To that, I fold in 5 pounds of ground beef and mix with my fingers. Yeah, I should have used a bigger bowl for this. I have a bigger bowl, I just didn't use it. Anyway, oh, P.S. this is a Ree Drummond bowl. Okay, then I make 1-inch meatballs, about the size of golf balls. You could use a ice cream scooper or a measured scooper of any kind, a tablespoon, a measuring spoon, something like that. I just eye it up. I basically make sure they're all the same size so they cook evenly. You want to line parchment paper on a tray or a plate. And what you see me making here is about 3/4 of the total batch of 5 pounds of meat. This makes about 80 1-inch meatballs for me. So I'm just going to put them here on this. I'm just going to line up here on this tray. The next step is to put them in the freezer to set the shape for about 10 minutes. After that, you pull them out of the freezer and you're going to brown them on all sides in olive oil in a fry pan on medium to low heat. I haven't mastered this step of browning meatballs in a pan. So I use these 2 spoons and I try to be cognizant not to scratch the pan with these because they're metal spoons. But I found it easiest to reshape the meatballs as they're browning because the oil kind of, I don't know. I feel like the oil changes the shape of the meatball, but I haven't been able to find a better solution than this. Tongs break them up too much, break up the meatballs too much. They fall apart, so I use spoons now. Anyway, I brown them but not cooked through, and then I'm moving them onto a cookie tray. And there I bake them for 5 minutes at 400 degrees to finish cooking them. Transfer to a paper towel for draining and cooling. I am trying not to use paper towels in my world anymore, so I'm giving microfiber a try for this particular recipe of draining this meat. We'll see how that turns out. Then after they are done draining and cooling, you're going to move them to parchment paper again on another tray and put them in the freezer for 45 minutes. You're going to do this before you bag them for the freezer. Okay, so while that 45 minutes is passing on the first batch, I then start phasing in and repeating this whole thing. So I have sections of meatballs. I have batches of meatballs at various stages. And I multitask each one of these to finish out the rest of the meat mixture. I have one batch setting in the freezer. That's one cooked batch in the freezer, getting ready for freezer storage. I have one batch on the tray to go into the oven. I have one batch in the pan browning, and I'm rolling the last of the meat here from the bowl. And once you get going, you just move through each one of these phases and keep moving the meatballs through each phase. I bag sets of 20 meatballs. So once everything is all done and they're freezer set, they're cooked, everything's ready, I bag sets of 20. So I ended up with 20 for dinner and 60 frozen. So I had 3 batches frozen and 1 we're having with dinner. So real quick, back to this microfiber. I'm rinsing out the microfiber towels in the sink. You can see how much meat was left on there. And I'm washing them on cool with other microfiber towels. I'm gonna air dry for 45 minutes with no heat when these are done, and we'll see how they come out. They came out clean, but you can see the grease stains, which probably could have expected, but the green towels, my green microfiber towels are for food, and my yellow and blue microfiber towels are for cleaning. So I'll probably just, hang on to these because they're for food anyway. Click here for 2 easy winter soup recipes, and click here for 4 dump and go crockpot meals, and click here to subscribe to my face. Thanks for watching.